Big up Miss Kittin. Big up Miss Kittin. Big up the legendary DJ Miss Kittin, who recently played at the Berghain 20th birthday party this past weekend. She posted this particular Instagram story, which I think is interesting to talk about because of the trend that revolves around Berghain, which is completely different to what she's kind of pushing and how she's kind of the stance that she has. But I still think it's interesting to talk about, and it's in regards to people sharing clips of themselves in Berghain where they're recording the audio. As most of you guys know, Berghain, the legendary techno club over there in Berlin, is very well known for not allowing people to take pictures. So you can't take pictures, can't take videos. Actually, when you enter, if you basically get past the door and you're granted entry in and you don't get turned away, they actually affix a sticker on your phone that covers all of it. And usually they have really big. They really, from what I remember. Last time I went, they're usually really good quality stickers too. They're really big and they're hard to take off, so they put them usually on the back of your camera and they tell you very clearly that, hey, you know, to take pictures are not allowed, to protect people's privacy on the inside, so make sure everyone has a good time. And to be honest, it does work. It seems like a bit of a finicky thing to do. It seems a bit uppity, it seems a bit pretentious, but once you get into Berghain and you party there, you realize that people not being conscious of having their phones out or people recording them really does add to the environment and to the space and to the experience. Now, there's also this trend that people do where they go to Berghain and they still record a video anyway, but you can't see nothing because there's a sticker covering it. It's become a bit of a trend. So nobody actually tries to remove the sticker to record the video of themselves in Berghain. No, they actually leave the sticker on, but they'll record the videos that you can't see nothing and just hear the sounds, so that, you know, and they'll show off that regard and maybe have a geolocation that says Berghain so you can tell where they are. That's become a big trend, and sometimes people share those stories on Instagram stories, and maybe they'll tag the DJ who they're partying to, and sometimes the DJ will reshare that post on their profile as a way to show you, you know, kind of appreciation and to kind of push themselves a bit. And for the most part, I always thought it was allowed. I always thought this was allowed. I didn't think this was an issue, because it seems like every DJ that plays there, especially all the big ones, they do it all the time. Anytime they play, after they play, they make a post, thank you for having me, guys, and they'll just be sharing clips of themselves on Instagram stories. People keep tagging them, they'll keep resharing it, Well, it seems like Miss Kittin doesn't share that sentiment and she has a different point of view. So let's read it. This is courtesy of her Instagram profile. Miss Kittin says as follows: a little reminder about why I personally do not post Berghain sound videos. With all my respect, no phone means no phone. It stays in your pocket. I asked the club about these videos to repost or not, and they were never for it. I don't blame you guys for recording a piece of the happiness history. It's highly flattering too, but we DJs can improve our narcissism and show an example of how to nurture a safe space. What's in Berghain stays in Berghain, all in our heart, all of it. Lots of love, Kay. I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like her approach. I kind of like her stance. It's really refreshing to hear her say this, almost in like a, hey, I'm a professional DJ. I tour around the world. A bunch of people record me. I record myself playing. I post clips of myself playing on my Instagram. But when I play in this particular venue, I respect the rules. No phone means no phone. I quite like her saying that, the way she said it. I think the only issue is I feel like Berghain have kind of had to accept this, because I feel like since the post-pandemic, I think I remember going actually, yeah, I think I might have went to Berghain the first few parties after it reopened after the pandemic, and it was pretty clear to see that it completely has changed in terms of the clientele. And for sure, if people go there every week, I'm sure other Berliners can probably attest to this because I don't live there, but you can definitely tell week on week, it's definitely not as full as it used to be. It definitely isn't. Now, that might be also in part due to this like silent protest or boycott certain DJs have been doing with Berghain and not playing there. I know big DJs like Matrix Man and, you know, Josie Rebel, who's from London as well. Those type of people have kind of silently kind of stepped away from playing at Berghain because of their lack of response or clarification about their stance when it comes to the war in Gaza and shit. But in general, there's definitely less people going to Berghain. So I feel like Berghain have kind of like, without saying, have accepted the fact that people share these videos in the hope that sharing of those videos, of these sound videos, will make people want to come because it'll be like a FOMO thing. I think that's what they've kind of done, because I felt like in the beginning they didn't really like them, but they kind of couldn't stop it because it was a thing, and also it kind of helped people maybe promote the club in a weird way. But I do like that she herself personally, Miss Kittin, is like, no, I just won't tolerate it. It means no phones completely. And the fact that she spoke to the club about it is also very interesting. Again, it kind of shows the conflict they're probably having, where they kind of know they can't police it. You can probably, like, because to police people not recording these sound videos would mean having security and bouncers on the dance floor. Now, I know, because I'm a fucking idiot and sometimes I've fallen asleep inside of Berghain because I've been too fucked up or just been too tired. I know that sometimes the bouncers at the front of the door sometimes cycle, or sometimes switch shifts, and some of them will walk around the dance floor or walk around the space, but they're very incognito. They're not like how it is in London or in most metropolitan cities where they make their presence known. They don't walk around in high-vis vests. They don't have their flashlight out on the dance floor. They're just like, they just know where to look and scan around. And they're really good at kind of doing it kind of without being seen, and kind of making sure they don't interrupt anything and kind of spoil the vibe. And again, I've only noticed them because I fell asleep a couple of times. I've had them wake me up. So clearly they've kind of been doing the rounds and shit. But the only way to kind of stop those sound videos would be to have them on the dance floor with flashlights out, and that would ruin the vibe, because I feel like part of the beauty of Berghain is that there's so much issue. There's so much of a battle to get in. It's such a stressful, high pressured kind of a thing to get in there, to get there at first, to queue up, whether or not you're going to shout at the queue jumper or not, figuring out how much you should drink or how many drugs you should do before you get there, not trying to get too fucked up, trying to act sober. All this sort of stuff is running in your head. You get to the front of the door and you have to wait there nervously to see if the person gives you the nod to go in or tells you to fuck off and go home. And then once you're in, the beauty of the club is that all of that stress kind of leaves, because there's no one looking over you anymore. You can just go in there and enjoy yourself. And weirdly enough, because they kind of vet the club as well as they do with the door picking and shit, usually when you're in there, everybody that's around you is also a good egg, is also somebody that you wouldn't spend time with. Yeah, very rarely do you go in that club and find wankers. I think it's just even if you are a wanker, you probably put on your best face possible because you want to have a good time. So everyone's kind of enjoying this kind of ambiance together, and it all kind of works very, very fucking well. So I think it would be very difficult and probably counterintuitive, and really wouldn't be helpful if they had people on the dance floor with flashlights, basically trying to make sure people don't record these sound videos, you know. And for the people that go, there's not a lot of stuff that you can, like, I would personally say, if it was me and I was going Berghain for the first time, right? If it was me, I would probably steer against, or I would probably not be so prone to grab my phone. But I don't know, everyone's different, isn't it? Because I think it's a bit weird as well to, you already put stickers on people's phones. Like, how much more control, how much more thing do you need on people's actions and stuff? You know what I mean? Like, you already put a sticker on their phone, you told them they can't take a picture, just let them, you know, do their thing. They're adults, you know what I mean? Let's not baby people too much. But I think if you want to enjoy yourself, especially when you go to Berlin clubs, I think the beauty of enjoying yourselves at Berlin clubs, or just any clubs in general, is probably to try your best to limit the amount you use your phone anyway. It's like if you go to a cinema. If you go to the movies, the best way to judge if the movie's good or not is to just kind of sit there and watch it. Checking your phone when you're bored, it doesn't, I mean, you're not going to get a good idea on what's going on. So I think, like, fully immersing yourself in the surroundings and making it a rule not to take your phone out too often. And because I remember I used to do that quite often when I first kind of like was going out a lot, and maybe, let's say, this is a bad example, but let's say if I was going out a lot and the idea when I was going out was to kind of pick up girls and shit. I remember one of the things that I would kind of do as like a way to kind of force myself to speak to people, and when I'd go on a night out to kind of pick up and shit, it wouldn't be just to pick up girls. It would be just to kind of talk to people in general and get comfortable with talking to people in general. And then obviously talk to people in general, be interested in the person, being the personable, you know, it could then extend into maybe being lucky with the ladies and shit. And what I would do purposely is I would make sure I wouldn't take my phone out. Like, even if I was really kind of uncomfortable and no one was talking to me and I was just at the bar by myself, I would just stand there and kind of like embrace my, you know, kind of soak in the environment, and just don't go for the easy crutch of like, take your phone out when you're nervous, take your phone out when it's awkward, take your phone out when you're bored. No, let's sit in the environment. So I think that's really important when you go to this type of places. Plus, as good as those videos are and as charming as they are, and as much as I love to see them, because, you know, I'm a fucking I love to fucking stalk people who go to the clubs and shit and check out the geolocation on Instagram all the time. As great as it is to do those type of things, let's be honest, those videos and those sound videos, they don't come close to capturing the vibe in that place. They do not come close at all to capturing the magic of when you, like, even when you go out with your friends, forget a clubbing, no videos or clips can ever capture the ambiance, the vibe, the fucking whatever atmosphere of you being out with your friends and stuff and having a good time. So I think you're probably not going to capture it anyway with a little clip, so that you're probably wasting your time with it. So I would advise against it personally if it was me. I'd probably, I don't know, I'd go as far as maybe installing one of those apps on your phone that kind of blocks your access to social media or whatever, and just putting it for the hours that you're meant to be in Berghain and putting your phone in your pocket and just going. I've heard of people to do this. I'm not sure if this has happened in Berghain, but I've heard of people who go to Fold, who when they go to Fold, they put their phone in the fucking cloakroom locker thing. Sorry, in the lockers. I've heard people do that. It's pretty crazy. I don't think I'm that brave, but I've heard of people who do that, who put their actual phone in the lockers, and then when the rave's over, obviously take their phone out, but they don't have their phone on the dance floor. They're just, you know, they're just having a good time and shit, which is pretty cool, to be fair. That might be the way to go, you know, leaving your phone in your jacket pocket in the cloakroom or something. That might be actually the way to go to avoid doing these sort of situations. But I think she's really, really right, and I do kind of think she's also right in that maybe DJs just set their tone. If they don't share them, maybe fans. I don't think fans are doing it for DJs' love though. Because, actually, I take that back. There's a lot of fans out there that are in love with DJs and want them to be their friends and shit. So maybe there are some, you know, people that do that in the hopes of a DJ would share it and then you can creep into their DMs. But I think most people are doing it for themselves. But I guess she has got a point in terms of DJs should probably set a good precedent and should set a good, you know, example and be like, look, I'm playing, I'm happy, I'm here. Picture of me outside, picture of me after the set, but no sound clips. No. I'm not encouraging that shit, because you should be on the dance floor dancing. You shouldn't be recording these sound clips. And obviously, it's no pictures allowed here. So I agree with what she's saying. I think she makes a good point here. I really do think she makes a good point. So big up Miss Kittin.